time here at SummerStrong, if you've been here the last few years, you remember Mr. Luke Day, and I'll let him take it from here. Hey, Mike. Not that Luke really needs a mic.
Okay, all right, so this guy, Coach Sinclair, means a ton to me. He's helped me out in my career, in my anti-career, in my destruction of my own career multiple times. I had our first child, and we had all just got wiped out from the job we were working at, and my phone, I got a voicemail on the way home from the hospital, and it was a guy named Scott Sinclair, and he wanted to interview me for a job that I applied for months and months before. And I drive over to the hotel, and I call him Ed Ellis, and I call Ed Ellis Scott Sinclair. So it was a great start to the interview process, but I survived that. And then we've been like two ships passing in the night multiple times. He was at Marshall right before I got there, and he was also was the team chaplain at UCF, and I had to replace him in that. So I've been compared to Scott for a long time. Okay, here's the deal. But he's a phenomenal human being. He's obviously an excellent coach because he wins everywhere he goes. God dang, he wins. He wins everywhere he goes. I'm really excited. I got a front row seat. You've meant so much to me and my family, and I can never ever repay that. But I'm excited to hear. This guy a couple years ago, it was called Strong Roots. This guy's definitely part of my root system. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Sinclair.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks, brother.
Yes, sir. You won't often see two SEC head football strength coaches intro each other.
It's very true. Very true. We'll say hello today and be friends today for sure.
How's September going to look?
We'll cross that bridge when we get here.
Well, Scott and I have known each other for 25 years at least, since we were pups. And Scott's one of those guys who was like, just always came with a positive attitude and just, helped us out every chance he got. And because we were both just throwing effort at the problem generally as young pups, we became friends. And he was there for us when we needed him. Hopefully we were able to do the same for him at times. And it was really cool. We were able to work together here at the University of Georgia over the last couple of years. They've done pretty well at football for a while. And it was one of those pieces of the puzzle that we started talking at a conference or something. I was like, man, we just need to sit down and I want to dig in. I want to dig into who Scott Sinclair is now. And what's going on at the University of Georgia. Obviously, a lot of good things are going on there. And so when we did the room there, we sat down. It was like old times. You're like two little kids talking, and we're talking training, we're talking culture, we're talking all this stuff. And we kind of looked at each other like, all right, we probably need to do something at SummerStrong. So thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, this is going to be like interview style because this is stuff I want to know. And if you guys want to sit in our conversation, glad to have you.
Yeah. Hey, real quick too. Holy crap, man, this is amazing. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous. Just to sit in front of you guys and to hear the speakers that have spoke already. I'm humbled as all get out just to hear what everybody else is saying. And the only reason we win games is because we got good players. I want to make sure we put that out. We have a small piece of the puzzle. You got to have good players, and we have a good coaching staff and good players. And thank you for letting me be here. And,
oh man.
Real quick before we get going, I gotta say hello to my staff. If you guys, I know you're here somewhere, but just stand up. Coach Barber, Coach KJ, Coach Kale in the back, and then I have one of our intern coaches here. You are only as good as your staff, and I've got a heck of a staff that they make my job so much easier and so much better, and it's a joy to be around those guys every day. So anyway, I wanted to say that first.
That's something that I always saw with you. So I've known one of his mentors, Ed Ellis. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but That was always one of those things that you guys always, wherever you've been, has had a really tight pack. You walked together, you hung out together, you worked together. And it seems like the culture that you guys have grown at Georgia. What's the psychology and what's the culture that you've groomed, or your team, or your staff? Or, I mean, obviously you're the head guy, so you got a lot to do with it. So what has that been like?
When everybody talks about building a culture, to me it's just having a standard and doing that standard every single day and not wavering from it. Obviously we lift weights and we're going to do multi-joint exercises, and we're going to clean and bench and squat. But to me, it's the attitude, the effort, and the discipline that me and my staff put together and we demand from our players helps our culture to grow.
So is that like a consistent, like, give us an example, if it's like raising kids, right? You have, the consistency is what does it. You could be an a-hole or you could be nice, but it's just be consistent.
Right.
Because then people know boundaries and know where they're standing, and then they could act to it. So give us an example of, like, maybe those boundaries are holding them to a...
And honest to God, like, we don't have a lot of rules per se in the weight room, but one of them is you wear black socks. You wear the certain shoes, you wear black shorts.
Why black socks?
It's one of the standards that we have, right? And so they can wear whatever George issued shirt they want. All right, I don't let them wear hats, jewelry, things like that. But the point of it is, and I will go down and dig in your shoes, and if I don't see socks, or if it's white socks, you're going to pay the price for it. And
if you gave me 100 things I would have guessed, I would have not figured black socks.
No, that's one of them. And I think as a staff and as a culture builder, we don't let the guys waver from that. And they know when they come in that weight room, they better have their shoes on, the correct shoes, black socks, black shorts. And when it's not done that way, there's a price to pay for it.
Is that just to establish details matter?
I think details matter. I think
details that really don't matter, making them matter?
I think the details matter. I think the discipline of it matters, because I don't think it's any different than the D-line coach saying you got to be a 3-eye instead of a 2-eye, and that may be 12 inches, but that difference matters. We're not
Sure.
coaching. A coach is not coaching that just to say it. If we're coaching a power clean and I want the bar right, on shoestring level and not out in front of them, there's a reason why we're coaching that. So there's a reason why we want them to be disciplined and accountable and responsible. I think from football, but to the real world, we always got to be that. And I think we are trying to grow men. And I say men, I work with every sport. I've got a chance to work with all sports, but right now, in the last couple of years, it's been just football. But we want to grow men and help these young boys come in and grow to be better men. And so discipline, accountability, responsibility, great attitude, it helps you to win football games, but it helps you become a better man, and it helps you in the real world, because when you show up late for work, or you just show up for work and you don't wear what the proper attire is for your work, you may be in trouble for it. And then you get in trouble for it, and it just leads to crap down the road.
Make the small things matter, and then you have something to bounce off of. You have it consistent.
Yeah.
I like it. I know you and I have talked about some of the skull sessions that you've had. Skull sessions, as you guys call them. Like, what are the skull sessions, and give us ideas of that? I know you might even have some different
Yep.
videos.
So I honestly think, you guys, like the skull sessions that we started doing, and it's just a chance for our team to sit down and talk.
The whole team?
Well, we can do the whole team as a group.
Okay.
But we also break it up to 12 individual small groups. And I think that's been one of our successes, to be honest with you. We've always talked about, it's funny, I was watching a video of Luke speak here, and he's like, no offense, he says, I don't think you have to have a why, or something. We were talking about a why. Well, we do believe you have to have a why in what you do at Georgia. And what it is I want to know about you and why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you playing football in college? Why are you, what are you wanting out of this? And if I know your why, then I have a better opportunity to encourage you when we're out there running sprints in the heat of the summer. I know why you're doing it. If it's for your mom, if it's for you to send money back home.
What's the most typical why? Like SEC high-level football, what is the most typical why?
It's always family. It's
Really?
always family, and I would think,
To respect their family, to pay their family, like what?
I think to take care of my mom, and to take care of my family, because a lot of guys that we get a chance to coach and be a part of their lives, their mom has done so much for them. And so they only see it right to be able to try to pay back.
What percentage would you say would be single-parent homes? I know that's a bit of a side.
I mean,
just interesting.
I would. It's over 50. I would, for sure say that. But I think it's important for them to know their why. But I think it goes on beyond. Like, it's not just our players that sit down and talk about it. Us as coaches and our whole coaching staff will sit down and talk about it. The reason this whole thing started was this: a couple of years ago, we were sitting as a staff, a coaching staff, and somebody was saying something about names. And one of my assistants at the time, Rodney Prince, stood up and was like, half of y'all don't know their names. That's why they don't respect you. And so it started growing from that is the doggone offensive coordinator doesn't know the DB walk-on that's giving him a look every day at practice. So why does that kid care, or why does that kid think that that coach cares about him if he doesn't even know his name? So it grew from that to where, okay, we need to grow this skull session. We need to figure out, do we have DNA traits? We didn't even have DNA traits at the time. Like, what is our team made of? Why are we here? What are we doing?
DNA traits, what do you mean?
So our team had, like, DNA is part of your makeup, right? That's who you are. And so for us, our DNA traits at Georgia are connection, toughness, composure, and resilience. And those things matter, and we talk about those things every day. And I kind of wrote a couple things down, but it's not just say it and let it be. It's on our big screens. Heck, we as a staff have shirts with it on it. I got a video to show you, just hit real quick. On Fridays, we call it Get Your Touches In on Friday. And before we start our workout, we will play music and we will go around. I don't know where that is. If you keep scrolling a couple slides in,
Let's hit it.
But you can see the guys. Go again, keep going. All right there, hit that. So that's right before we start a workout, and guys go give each other dap. And we want them to look at them in the eye. It gets a little silly, but it's touch, it's being a part, it's being connected. We want to make it real. Not just talk about it, but let it be an actual thing. Whether they got their hand claps like they do, hugging, touching, it's being loyal, it's being a family.
Yeah.
It's being connected.
Well, there's oxytocin, there's legitimate hormones that are and chemicals that are released when human touch, and you're reacting with one another, you look in each other's eye. There's trust, we're building a tribe.
So we have a sports site guy. I sent that to him one day and it's like, hey, here's what we're doing on Fridays. And he says, I like it. He says, challenge them to look each other in the eye when they do it next time. It means more. And so, just things like that, I think, you can talk about it being connected, but are you really? We go around the hallways. Hey, get your touches in. Just something to let it be real and be a part of a true family atmosphere, and not just sit on a T-shirt or not just sit on a board and say, oh, yeah, you guys are connected. We did this. I've done this the last 2 years. We will go on our indoor, and we may have, 1600s. And I'll call out 4 different guys, one at a time, and I'll put 3 or 4 players on the big board. Typically a player that doesn't get a lot of playing time, maybe your walk-on, right? And I'll say, if you can name him.
As a walk-on, that means so much.
Yeah. Hey, if you can tell me his name, first and last, I'll take a sprint off. And so they typically have done a really good job of knowing names and learning names. And so I think the most sprints we've done the last 2 years have been maybe 3 or 2. Because they will not, like, it's not enough. If I'm your locker mate and all I do is say, hey, what's up every day, how are you going to be a family? How are you going to be connected? I need to know about you. You need to know about me. Cool. So that's part of the connection. Toughness, obviously, we want to make things difficult. Yep. We want them to be challenged. We want to make things learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Sure.
Can we do that in a weight room? Maybe.
How hard was that to establish?
I think early on, you're always going to get fight back from that, and why are we doing this?
Sure.
What's the point of doing this? But I think you just have to hold the course and hold the standard and be the same every day. And so the toughness part of it, just not letting them out of things and making it difficult. If that's running outside at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's running outside at 3 o'clock. If that's not telling them how many sprints we got or what time do I got to make it in, I don't tell them. Just run until you hear the whistle blow. You got to fight through stuff.
Yeah, that's a different type of psychology. Yeah.
It is, but I think in my mind, I guess, Like when I first started 24 years ago, you just said, let's go do it, and everybody did it. And now you have to give a little bit more reason why, or now you have to go around here to get to here.
Has that changed significantly in the last 24 years?
In my mind, it has. I just think a lot more young men and young ladies, and they want to know why we're doing something and tell me how it's going to help me and what can it do to make me better. And you know, if that's the way it's going, I don't have a problem with that. Heck, I'm educating them. I'm telling them how. Maybe they want to be a coach one day. Maybe they want to learn. And so,
is it from them wanting to legitimately be educated, or is it a little bit of a they want to push
I
back?
think we would all say it's probably a little bit of both.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
I remember getting in trouble in college. I would ask my coach, and my coach was very, very hard line. And I'd ask him stuff because I was legitimately interested in this field, hence this, right.
Yep.
You know, but he'd rip me one day. Stop asking questions. I was like, I just want to know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn here. I'm asking you questions, and I'm not questioning you. I'm asking questions.
I think that's,
And it's a different
sometimes
thing.
you'll get it. I think we've all been in those spots where it might be like, just do what I'm asking you to do.
Yeah,
and
there's
we'll
that
talk
too.
after later. You know
There's
what I mean?
that too. Yeah.
I wanted to show real quick too. I think, you know, I showed a couple things to my staff, and they're like, I think you need to show a couple of these things,
Yes.
only because, like, I can sit up here and tell y'all we do that, but just, you're like, man, they ain't doing that stuff. But if I can show it to you in action, and to me, when we show this to our players, it means more, and they're like, this crap really works.
Yeah.
If you can go to the composure piece, if you can. Oh, right there. All right, so that is in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl game. All right, I think we're down 20-7 in the third. Stetson just throws a pick. We got Nolan Smith. He tore his pec mid-season, so he's been out 4 games. He walks by him with a card that has composure on it. Composure, composure. Hit that one more time and you can see it. And I show that only because, like, I think that's real. Like, we believe it. Our players believe it. It's not just, again, it's something on a sheet of paper in a hallway. It's what we're trying to live each day. So that connection, that toughness, composure, and then the resiliency piece. We should have lost that game, obviously. I mean, we should have lost it, and we got lucky, but I think that's part of our DNA. We kept fighting, and we were resilient enough to just keep pressing on. And
Sure.
In my mind, when we played Alabama in 2017 and we lost, I can see why Alabama was where they were, because they just kept going. They didn't know anything but that. And I think we're getting close to that now, where these skull sessions, these DNA traits that we have, these times that we can sit around and talk and get to know our coach, our teammate, they matter.
Gotcha. Well, now talk about like a few of the important pieces of the puzzle. That seems like some important tenets. You and I talked on the phone one day, and I wrote down, like, what do you believe the most important component for football? Like, what are the non-negotiables or the non-negotiable, whether it's a training protocol, what it's like, we're going to squat twice a week or die, or like, is it that, or are there non-negotiables, or is everything in flux or could be decided upon later?
Okay. I think some of this I learned from Ed. Like,
Sure.
Our program is constantly changing.
So give a little context to Ed Ellis real quick.
So Ed Ellis is my mentor. I mean, I started under Ed. We'll talk about it in a minute, but my first job was in 1999 at Wake Forest under Ed Ellis, and I got to know him by doing an internship in college, my junior year of college. I went up and, I always remember meeting him the first time, and I walk in the weight room, it's like after 5, and he's in there by himself, soaking wet, sweating, cleaning by himself. Hey, Coach Ellis, how are you? Yeah, hey. And I was like, I'm here. I'd like to do an internship with you this summer. And that's fine. Just be here Monday morning. And that was it. I was scared to death, but I just, that's kind of how the introduction happened. But I'd been with Ed from 99 to 2012. And then I left and became the head guy at Marshall 13. But, crap, where were we going?
Yeah, so most
okay, so the point of all that is this. I think, and I got a quick one. Ricky, you got to go fast on, go 2 slides next. Don't even worry about that. Keep going.
Run it here if you have to.
Okay, keep going.
We gotta go out.
Don't even worry about that. We're going to go. Keep going. All right, pressure. I want to show that because we did talk about that, or I wanted to tell y'all that. So everybody's like, we won 2 back-to-back. We've been very fortunate, been very lucky. how's that pressure? And we want our players and we want our organization not to think of that. That's not the way we see it. Like, we don't want to see the target is on us. And I think that starts from your head coach. Like, I'm very lucky to be working with Coach Smart.
So do you feel like you're the ones holding the rifle?
We go to the next slide. That's what we want ourselves to see.
Yeah.
And that's a crap. They're like, I don't know, my interns did that for me. Those guys like, oh, but we don't see the target being on us. We want to always be the hunted, not the hunter. And I think that's the mindset.
Yeah.
Like, we want to hunt.
Yeah.
You ain't coming into a game hunting us. We're hunting you. And so, but with all that being said, if you go like to one more, I'm going to answer the question because I like the way. All those things I think matter. Strength, speed, acceleration, we train them all. Mobility, balance, conditioning. But I will go to my grave and I tell our staff and I tell our interns all the time, go to the next one. If you don't strain and you don't work hard, in my mind, you won't get better. And so to me, whatever program you have, if you work hard at it and you strain and you push and you demand great effort, I think that's how you get better.
Effort.
So that's my non-negotiable.
Right.
We're going to go in there and we're going to strain and we're going to work hard. And I need to see it difficult. If it's not difficult, I just don't know if it's going to work.
Well, I've known you for so long, and I've seen different styles of training that you've personally done. But I will say that's been the common denominator is effort and work. Like, I never saw, like, different places you've been, when y'all would go and work, like you and Ed and BJ and guys like that, like, no one was outworking you. Like, y'all would just work.
I got a quick one, two stories. And first of all, Coach Barber, we'll sit down. We sit down as a staff and we program. And we program for our summer training. We program for our in-season. We program for our off-season. We sit down as a staff and go through it. And Coach Barber, like, you know, he's non-volume, I'm crazy volume. Let's go. Like, I'm bear crawling, we're up, down, and like, you guys, we probably up, down 20 minutes per group when they messed up going into this off season before we ever started a weight. Because we had guys that have lost one game in 2 years. So they had the big head, you know, they thought the crap didn't stink. And so when we did our warm-up, if a foot was on the line, everybody up, down. If I said cross your arms at the top and the bottom for the warm-up and they didn't cross them at the bottom, we stopped and we up, down. And we probably spent 20 minutes. We had 3 groups. And each group, probably for a week and a half, 2 weeks, we spent 15 to 20 minutes up, down it until they did it right. But it's made a difference.
It's a recalibration.
It is. It's like, look, this is how it's going to be, and we're going to climb back into that. But the hard work strain piece, Coach Barber says, I put too much volume in. I like volume. So we do a lot of volume. But I think you have to work hard. I think you have to strain. And I learned that from Ed. My other story is this one. It's my first year at Wake, and we are working out. And we have, and I'll be honest, I can't remember the guy's name, but he wanted to come in and just kind of hang out with us for the day and see what was going on. And so Ed brought him in, and he's checking us out. And we were getting ready to lift. And if you know Ed Ellis, he don't miss a lift day. And I rarely do either. So Ed's like, all right, we're going to lift. And the guy's like, yeah, I want to jump in with you. And I don't even think we were supposed to do legs. But when the guy said he wanted to jump in with us, we were doing legs. So we're in the middle of a workout, and it's probably been 2 hours. And, like, I'm dying. And I don't even know, you ever heard of a posi track squat? Like, this shows my age, but it's some kind of, like, old Smith machine squat.
Yeah.
But it was called a posi track back in the day. But we just finished a set on it, and this guy's about to puke. And I go over to the water fountain, and I'm like, Ed, I can't make it much more. I'm about to die. And he looks up and he's like, we got him on the ropes. He's about to quit. Let's go. So, needless to say, we finally got the guy to quit because, you know, whatever, he threw up or whatever. But that's just the kind of work ethic and strain and mentality that I learned not only from my dad, but also from Ed.
You want to hear a funny part of that story?
Yeah.
I sent the guy.
Oh, you did?
He was my training partner.
Even better. No kidding.
He came back. I was like, you got to go down and see Ed. And he came back, and he was a big, strong guy, right? And he came back. He was like, I was so screwed up after that training session. Yeah. He goes, I thought they were going to kill me. And he was like 600 pounds. So like, he's a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
And he was just like, they killed. He's still in coaching today. He's crushing it in the area.
Is that right?
But it was so funny. I remember him coming back and telling me that story. You told me that story that day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly who that is.
So he didn't come back.
No,
not to us.
No. That's awesome. So going into, we talked about a little bit about Ed. So mentors, how did you get started? What are your roots? We talked a little bit about that already.
You know, I think my first mentor is my father. My dad was a high school graduate, and that's it. He was an electrician. And I remember seeing my dad, you know, I remember vividly like us getting ready to go on a vacation and the phone ringing and him having to run back inside and answering it. And, you know, somebody needed something done at their house. And so me, my mom, my sister sat in the car while he drove across town to fix something. But what I learned is hard work, all right? What I learned, what he taught me was, you know, I remember this. I remember, you guys ever skin a wire? Like if you're an electrician, you skin a wire and like the little wire pieces drop off. Well, he would catch them in his hand and put them in his pocket because he didn't want to leave the place dirtier than he found it. And he always told me, you know, we want to make sure that when we leave this place, it doesn't look like we were here. And I've just tried to carry that over to our weight room. And I think, you know, it doesn't sound like I'm bragging, please don't, but we want our room, and if you've ever been through it, you know it, it's spotless. And our interns do a hell of a job, but we help too, but I want it to look like nobody's been in there. I think that's important if you're trying to raise money and you got people coming through your room and they want to give money and it looks like a piece of crap in there. Well, if I got a lot of money, I ain't giving to you. You know, you're not taking care of the place. So, but my dad taught me that a job worth doing is worth doing right. It doesn't matter if you're the person carrying somebody coffee. All right, whatever you're doing, do it to the best of your ability because you also don't know when somebody's watching you. And when somebody is seeing you do something, and then we may be able to help people grow when they're seeing us doing those things. But my dad was a huge one. My high school coach, and I met somebody here. Yeah. So Todd Hagler was my high school coach, and he was our weightlifting coach too. And I think I learned just intensity from him. Like he brought it every day. Like he enjoyed and loved weights, and so he was a big part of my roots as well. Bulldog and Mad Dog.
Sure.
So George Smith.
They just keep coming
Jeff
back up, don't they?
So my story on them is this. So I guess I was a 10th grader, and I go to Carolina football camp. I don't even know how long ago. This is a ways ago, but it was part football camp and it was part strength and speed camp. And so on Wednesday, strength and speed camp happened, and I went to those guys. And, you know, that was in 96 maybe, 97 or something like that. I didn't know what strength conditioning was. Like, for the most part, there wasn't a lot of strength conditioning coaches, and that was kind of my first eye-opener to, this is a job. Like, this is cool, man. Like, you know, you get to, and I didn't really know the impact they were making on young men or young women, but I saw them being able to train and be around young people each day, and I'm like, this is cool. And so they kind of opened my eyes up to what strength and conditioning could be as a profession.
Right.
And then lastly, you know, Ed Ellis. I mean, I owe everything I have to him. I started at internship. When I got done with that internship, I was going to go to Carolina. Back at that time, it was George Smith. Bulldog was the head guy, and I was going to go as a GA there. And I just, for all you guys and girls that are trying to get in it, just relationships and contacts help, okay? And that's the truth. But I stayed in contact with Ed. When I played small ball, Guilford College, small Division III school in North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina. But when we didn't have a game, I'd go visit Ed at Wake. Can I come up and just watch y'all stretch? Can I come up and just, so I'd constantly was always, we used to do bench press meets up there, and I'd go up there and help him bench press, and he'd pay me with creatine. Like, that was when you could give creatine out. For the old school people in here, Ultimate Orange, I don't even know if you remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Young people,
That
that's like all the get right stuff. The Ultimate Orange got you right. But, you know, he would pay me with that. But my point is, when I graduated college, he offered me a job full time. He had a person leaving, and that person left. And so, you know, because I think I worked my butt off, and I showed him and it mattered, and I cared, and I wanted to be the best I could be. I was very lucky and very fortunate, and I'm a Christian, and I think the good Lord looked after me. And he gave me a spot in 99. And so,
it's interesting that you say that. Some of the stuff that I've tried to live by here at Sornex, but then also we kind of permeate through our group is when you interface with anyone, whether it's a customer or coach or anyone, there are four things. You perpetuate your team brand, meaning like for my guys at Sornex. So like what we live by, what we believe in, that brand, we live that. Number 2, you develop and perpetuate your personal brand. That is, do you show up on time? Are you pleasant to be around? Are you trustworthy? All those things. And then, now some people might see the personal brand like of a Dan McKim. He's very personally branded online. But the personal brand of Dan McKim is different than you see online. He's much better than that. That's just some funny stuff and smart stuff he does online. So some people take that idea, but so it's those things is the company or the team brand, Georgia Bulldogs. Personal brand, who are you as a player? Who are you as a coach? Learn something and teach something. And so anytime you walk in or out of the room, you got to do all 4 things. And so what I hear what you did with Ed was, you developed your personal brand. You drove up there, you worked meets, you always showed up, you were trustworthy, you put forth effort, you were learning stuff constantly from him, and you were teaching something or bringing something to the table by helping. And that's, if you guys could take something away, I'm not trying to hijack, but what I'm hearing all throughout everything are those 4 things. And that's something that if you could take and just remember every time you're doing your business as a person, you're always developing your personal brand. You're perpetuating and supporting your big team, your brand, whatever that may be. But let them know who you are as a person. And that doesn't necessarily mean something funny or strong or a good thrower or a good football player, whatever. It's like, who are you as a person I know I could always count on? A brand is 1,000 details in an experience that creates a brand. Someone they interface with you 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 times. That becomes your brand. Be very cognizant about how you're creating your personal brand. Learn something and teach something. So it's interesting. I've always had that in my mind, but as I'm hearing, as you're doing with your kids, but also what you did was you created that. So I just want to kind of illuminate that. I thought was super cool.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other one is just be yourself. And
easiest way to build your own brand, right?
Yeah,
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Work hard. I don't know. Be humble. Right. You don't have to have this. I think God gave me this and gave me an opportunity to have this. I should say, and so I need to make the best of it.
Agreed, 100%. We'll switch a little bit. So, off season. We're talking about more Georgia football now. I was interested. This is what kind of, I think, what started our whole conversation. Off season and coming off of 2 national championship wins. What is the difference? Well, we kind of went over the target in your back. And I'm glad there isn't one. I like the aggressive nature of that. But, how do the kids react? How do does the athletic department feel different? Does this coaching staff feel different? Or is it still hammer down on the gas, aggressive?
I think I was talking to my staff on the way up here.
Because some people have to learn to win. They don't know what it's like if they win. They're like, I don't know what it feels like to be.
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, it brings me back to this. I had a player a couple weeks ago say, Coach, I think you need to do something this summer with us to make us lose. We need to feel what that feels like.
That's huge. It's for them to understand.
And that was a player.
That's enormous.
Yeah, that was a player.
Enormous.
So, we're trying to come up with things that maybe will make them fail because we've got freshmen that haven't lost a game, So do they need to know what that feels like?
And they might
or
have
is it
been
okay
undefeated
to keep
in high school.
That's right.
Like they might not have lost ever.
Right. And some of them hadn't done a daggum thing to earn it. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Some of them hadn't earned anything. So we're trying to figure out that. I think talking to the staff on the way up here, one of the other things is if you guys know Coach Smart, he's demanding. And it's all the time. I just told Luke, we got official visits tomorrow. It don't stop. But I guess my point is, what was done is done. And we don't even think about that. We're out to hunt again. And so if we're not, as a staff, a strength staff, ready to roll, if the football staff is not ready to roll, if the sports medicine staff, the nutrition staff, it's not about what we did. It's about let's go out and do something again. And so I think me as a coach, I think we've got to figure out what our team is about. I think our team was very connected the first year we won. I think last year they were resilient. They just kept fighting. I don't know what this team's going to be, so we've got to kind of figure that out. But I do know that they're going to be damn disciplined as long as I'm there. All right, they're going to be giving great effort, and they're going to have a good attitude. And y'all, I think the attitude starts with me as a strength coach. Like if I got a crappy, I always remember a coach telling me, don't bring your baggage in the weight room. Like, you know, I know if I'm lifting, I want somebody that's going to get me excited and get me juiced up a little bit. I don't want to come in there with, all right, here we go, guys. And that's just me. You know, we're going to go over here and do power clean. We got 4 sets of 5. Like, I'm yelling, let's go. We got to wake this thing up. Let's go. Come on. And that's just me, but that's the way I want it. All right, and so I just think we got to demand that from them. I've got to have a good attitude. My staff has to have a good attitude. We got to be energetic and excited.
Yep.
I mean, gosh dang it. We get to wear shorts and a T-shirt and impact young men's lives and lift weights all day. Why wouldn't you be excited? That's the way I see it. So I just...
Well, I've seen that through your, like, Throwback Thursdays you guys did. Tell us about the Throwback Thursdays. If you've been following on social media, they were doing...
It is.
That was pretty sweet.
Throwdown Thursdays.
Sorry.
All right. So I don't know, you guys, it started, and I'm gonna play a couple. We'll play a couple fast ones for you because I do think they're kind of funny. But it really just started. We just like to lift weights as a staff, and I think it helps us bond as a staff. I think when our players walk by and they see us lifting together and maybe doing the things that we ask them to do, I think it gives us credibility. All right. I think it started helping, to be honest, with recruiting. Because they would show recruits this stuff, and the recruits are coming on campus going, holy crap, y'all did this or y'all did that. This is like the first one we ever did. And we pulled, and we're just calling guys go through them if you want to.
Throwdown Thursday, episode 4.
But, I mean, we just wanted to pull a truck up a hill. I don't know.
Let's go.
But it started growing, and it started picking up on, like, Twitter and all that kind of stuff. I'm not real good at that, but we just kept grinding it out. I mean, look, Prince is about to get so pissed off back there. I mean, we're trying.
I mean, Ed Ellis is what, in his upper 50s?
Oh, yeah. He's in the back going, yeah. So we end up making it. We'll go to the next one. Then we started to get a little creative with this one. This is probably one of my most favorite of all time. And we got Quavo popping in here with us.
Season 2, episode 5. It's all about getting piped up, get strong, let's go!
Like, this is, I really like this one, I'll be honest with you. Like, we do a plank around the track for 400 meters with our feet and hands, being pulled by a golf cart. So, I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. Like, and it's different. And the guys see that, they're like, man, you guys are nuts. So, we did that one, we did that for 400 meter. All right, I love Squattober. You guys, like, it's Sornex and Squattober, that's what it's all about. We go around campus during Squattober, and I think it's a way to get people involved in exercise. So we're passing T-shirts out, and we're going around campus doing Squattober.
Throwdown Thursday, Friday edition.
And we put the Dynabody squat in the back of my truck, and
We're in October still. That's one thing.
speed it up a little bit because at the very end,
You wanted to see
Ricky,
a squatter.
if you can, there's a bus driver that stops the bus and gets off the bus and squats with us. It's crazy. Here you go, right here. I mean, Ed's passing out T-shirts for squatting. See the bus in the back? Watch this. Watch this. My man jumps off the bus. He starts squatting. I mean, hey, come on. All right, go to the next one. We'll see what else we got. I just think this is cool because we do try to make it somewhat educational. Because we don't want to look like idiots all the time. So this is just recovery. We'll speed through this one too, but it's just some different things we do for recovery that we have in our building. Here was a great example of us being able to use it as a recruiting piece. So we got some different things, but you can just see some. There you go.
Tech boots in the heated massage chair.
You see Coach Barber in a minute in the
Hyperbaric chamber here.
whatever that cold
We actually
thing
got
is.
a player there right now.
Cryotherapy.
Cryotherapy. And our video department obviously started doing pretty good with it too. But we just have fun with it.
We just be at the beach. Well, we don't have sand, but we got water.
So these are salt tanks or whatever you call them.
Yeah!
You go to the next one. Let's see what else we got. All right, this is probably, I think this might be the last one. But I was talking to Aaron. You're talking about Highland Games. So every year at Thanksgiving, we like to involve a turkey. And we've done Summer Olympics, we've done Winter Olympics, and we did Highland Games, Turkey Edition, Thanksgiving Edition.
Throwdown Thursday, Season 3, Episode 12.
Happy Thanksgiving! It's time for the Turkey Highland Games. I mean, look, we just have fun, you guys. We'll see Ellis throw the turkey, and then we can go. I mean, look at Ellis. I think there's one more. Go to the last one, just because we don't just lift, we can still run. Now, I'm getting old, but I got some fast guys on staff. So,
Throwdown Thursday, Season 7, Episode 11. 4x1 relay.
We're trying to get it done in 1 minute.
So let's get it.
so that ain't bad for old men, 4x1 and making it in a minute. I didn't think.
I was dying.
I mean, come on. You can fast if you want to.
Left my hamstring back there.
Coach Barber got to take it home. I don't know, but we just have fun, you guys. I mean, golly, life's too short not to have fun. And so, again, it started with us doing something to truck, and then we had a coach go, you know, you guys ought to keep doing this because recruits are liking it. So then it just grew to recruiting, and then it just grew to us just enjoying cutting up a little bit and having fun.
Kind of goes back to the culture piece, right?
Yeah.
You're building the culture from the top down. This is what you guys are about. You'll do hard stuff. You get after it. You love up on each other.
Yep.
That's awesome. How has your training changed yourself?
I think if you look at our program and kind of how we changed, we still do a good amount of volume. But I went back and looked at I have our first 1999 Wake Forest program, and looking at the amount of stuff we did, and I showed it to my staff, and they're like, "Holy crap! That is a lot." But I think looking at the stuff, we do way more dynamic warm-up, way more mobility work now than we probably did then. Mm-hmm. We probably involve a lot more single leg exercises than we did then. I had a video up here. We're going to do 5 things we always do. We're going to push, vertical or horizontal. We're going to pull, and I like to pull every day. So we're going to do some form of, there's our pushing. We'll go through it real quick. We always use bench blocks. All right, I had Roquan Smith, linebacker for the Ravens now. He tore his pec, 3 sets of 5 at 80-something%. Not really bad, he tore his pec. So I just said to hell with it. We're going to use blocks from here on out. So we always bench with a block. I don't know if it helps, but we haven't had anything since.
Yeah,
so,
especially for big guys.
We'll do it. But we're going to, this is another push. You can hit it real quick. Just let it roll. I'll keep talking over it. But I really like the jammer arms. I mean, I use it whether it's an upper body piece like this as a push or even a triple extension exercise. But I like to do the jammers, single arm, double arms. We're going to do a pulling motion or squat. What's next? Our pulling motion. The bulldog pad, if you don't have it, get it. I mean, we use it all the time.
The bulldog pad was actually designed for Scott when so if you like the bulldog pad, thank him for asking the question, and we made it right there in his office.
So we got, fat grip rows right here, but we're going to pull every day. On a 3-day program or a 4-day program, we're going to pull every day. Hinging motions, I always like to do some kind of hinging motion every day. Hang clean, power clean, snatch, jammer arms, med ball throws late in season. We don't clean, we throw med balls. But we're going to do some kind of Olympic exercise every day. Trap bar deadlift.
Why don't you clean in season? Wrist and shoulders and back.
We will start cleaning from probably the first 7 weeks. And then on week 8 or 9, we'll start throwing med balls just to save our wrist, elbows, and shoulders. Smart. We do hang cleans, power cleans. I just, show you some different things we do. I mean, just so you don't think I'm up here BSing. And look, I'm not the Mr. Technique guru. If the technique's good and it's somewhat safe, I'm good with. but I'm not going to spend an hour doing technique work because I just don't think I got time. We're going to squat, back squat, front squat, single leg squat. We're doing a lot of split squats right now. I know the depth's not perfect. I'd want it a little deeper than that. That's not where I want it, but hell, you got to coach it. You got to demand the best you can out of it. But that's our guys in there squatting a little bit.
Let's go, Micah.
You kind of see the room now set up. You can keep going, Ricky, if you want, so we don't run out of time. I like to do neck. We're going to do some kind of neck work. I like to do like neck supported rows because I get rowing motion and I get an isometric neck contraction at the same time. We have neck machines. We'll do those. We do 1,000 million shrugs. Obviously, you get some traps from your cleans and things like that, but we do a lot of neck supported rows. And then I like for our core rotation, anti-rotation. So I stole this. I forget who was doing this. It really might have been Rusty, but I don't remember if it was. But I saw it on Instagram. This is great. So we can do a pile-off press. One guy's holding it, one guy's twisting, and then you just do
double it up.
That's right. So we'll throw hamstrings and things like that in there too. So
now, how did you set the room up? Because I know you and I, we went through a lot of like your vision behind setting the room up to do those things.
Yeah.
Like you had it very. It's a system behind
it's
it.
kind of if you want to, if I could show you that, I think it's kind of cool to see it if you want. But if you flip over, Ricky, real quick to like the first, and keep going. Keep going. We can always come back if we need to. Go again to the first weight room look. Keep going if you want to. All right, you got to go back one. There you go. The weight room on the left was when I got to Georgia. That was 2016. And I'm like, man, can we do something? And they're like, let's don't Band-Aid it. Let's wait. And so we started waiting. So go to the next picture. That was the initial design. I wanted indoor turf. I wanted a ramp. I wanted stairs. I didn't want a lot of columns, and that's what I got. And I'm like, all right, I got to get with Bert, and we got to start working. So we go to the next picture. I like it, but it's so freaking long. And what I don't like is I don't like to coach through a rack. Like, I don't want to see a guy on the back side of the rack and then another guy on the front side. That's just me. So I'm like, all right, I like this, but it's too long. I can't see what the guys are doing at the other end. So let's go to the next one. So that was better. I like that, but I've still got, if you notice, I've got a platform and a rack and a platform on the left side. And that, to me, didn't work because I didn't want it that way. So we started going, wait a minute. What if we call one side our speed side, which is the right side? That's where we're going to do all our Olympic lifting, our snatches, cleans, whatever. And the right side, or the top side, if you want to call it there, with the gray platforms, that's where I can bench and squat. And I have a walkway that I can walk through there and see it. So I can actually coach, and I don't have guys missing. If we ever need to do the entire team at one time on a platform, I can do it. If we ever need to do the entire team on a rack, I can do it. But the way typically our workouts are set up, it's 4 stations. So we may have a group in the bottom left corner doing hang cleans. The group up top might be doing, split squat. The group over here on the top right is doing a bench, and the group on the bottom might be doing pull-ups.
Why did you set it up that way? Was it for efficiency? Was it like capacity getting athletes through? Was it to kind of visually move some things around? Because it was different.
I think a couple reasons. One, if we want to do all cleans and all bench and then flip it, we can. But I like it this way because, number one, if we got a group of 40 or 50 guys in the room, it's one coach per 12 guys.
Which is
right?
doable.
Which is doable. The other one is, I think it sucks to do your squat if it's 4 sets of 8 or 4 sets of 10 when it becomes your last station. And I know that doesn't necessarily follow the strength and conditioning guidelines of doing your explosive movement or your hard movement first. But I always heard Joe Ken say it too, but you got to be explosive and fast, and you got to be able to push through stuff in the fourth quarter just like you do the first quarter. And so that's a mindset for our guys, because you know what they do? They sure as heck don't want to be in the group that comes to squat last. And we've got stairs in our room, and we'll start warming up on the stairs, and they will run to the front of the stairs because typically they know that first group I'm going to send to a squat station. Now, sometimes I'll screw them, and I'll wait till they run up there to the front, and then I'll send them to another station just to screw them up. Especially the guys that never get up there and then they think they got squat that day. But that's that mental, change up, changing up on them. Heck, the game, you prepare for a team.
Sure.
And all of a sudden that team comes out and they're doing something totally different. Well,
It's the unknown and unknowable.
That's it. So anyway, I like kind of stations.
Yeah.
I like them separated. I love 18 through 22-year-olds, but they don't listen. All right.
No.
They, you can't trust them. So I personally like to separate them out a little bit so I can coach them a little bit better and make sure they're doing. We don't do cards. I mean, if Coach Kale was in the squat station, he knows on his workout plan it's 4 sets, 8 at 70-something%, and we take them through every set. All right, first guy, you got your weight ready. We'll double check the weight. 8 reps, go. And a lot of times it's on command like that.
Nice.
But when you separate it out that way, and you can go a couple more, Ricky, to really see what it looks like. But that's the final product. It turned out really, really, really nice. The turf in the middle has been great. We don't lose a lot of time going down our indoor. We can do our warm-ups right there. There's the stairs. We've got plyo stairs built in there that we can jump up, run up. They ended up being 12 of them, so it's great to do step-ups. We're going to do 4 sets of 12 step-ups. You got to go down
Perfect.
8 times.
Easy.
Go up 4 right, 4 up left. But it's worked out really well.
Oh, that's awesome. It was a lot of fun working with you on that project. I know it took a long time. We tweaked, but it's awesome how it turned out.
Yeah.
You had a great vision. Last question. New and personal challenges for you. What books, what adventures? I've seen you from a big, strong lifter, almost like a bodybuilder. You were strong as a power lifter, almost like a bodybuilder. Then you started, you just went rim to rim in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I mean, I see these events. It's fun knowing someone for so long because you get to see these changes and new adventures in their life. Like, what's the new stuff for you?
Is Michael here? Michael Easter, is he here?
Is Michael here? Michael Easter here yet? He should be coming in tonight.
So Bert told me about a book a couple years ago called The Comfort Crisis, and Michael's speaking. If you haven't read it, read it, all right? Because it gave me, I think I'm saying it right, a Misogi, all right? It's something that challenges you and almost pushes you to the limits that you can't do. And so I read the book, and then I had a friend saying, hey, I'm going to go hike the Grand Canyon, but we're going to go rim to rim to rim. So that's 44 miles, and we did it in a day. And I said, you know what, screw it, let's roll. And so I started at 4 in the morning, and I finished at 11:30 that night. And it was, but it is.
How brutal was it?
Like, y'all think I'm lying, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, I did a lot of training for it, but I think mentally, I'm not even mentally as strong as half you guys, but I don't give up very easy. And I think the biggest part was that it just got sick of being in that damn canyon. And when am I ever going to get out of this thing? But, it was, I was telling someone, I ended up doing 500 step-ups, single leg. On a Sunday, I would increase 100 reps every Sunday just to try to get my legs ready for it. I think I ran a marathon or right close to a marathon to get ready for it. But my nutrition was good. It was just a mental challenge, And look, it gave me credibility because when the guys back at school found out that their damn old strength coach did that, I'm a young strength coach. I'm ready to go again, But that was fun. But the Michael Easter book, I like Dan John's books. I read Dan John's books.
Those are really good. Yeah, Dan spoke here probably 7 or 8 years ago, and we need to have him back because he has some just very simple to the point, very applicable stuff. I totally agree.
I like him. Joshua Metcalf, Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Okay.
Or Pound the Stone. Those are great ones. I like those. They're simple, easy. I'm not real smart, so I need that kind of easy book to read. You start getting in depth, I'm done. But I like those, and so I think the other challenges. I know I told you guys, but I like the outdoors. I think that's for me. It's a way to get away. Because good gosh, you guys and Luke can attest, and a lot of y'all can attest, but we don't get a lot of time off. May is our only time. And look, I'm not going to trade it for anything, but my son wanted to start hunting, so I got into hunting. I finally killed my first deer with a bow last year, so I was excited about that.
Yeah, I was talking to you on the phone, and you were like, dude, I haven't been this excited, the dopamine hit.
Dude, that was an adrenaline rush like no other now. Gosh. Now, the other part was the sucker went 150 yards, and I was by myself, and I don't know how to gut it yet, so I'm dragging it. I was glad I worked out, so I thought I was going to have a heart attack pulling that thing out of the woods. But that was fun. I just like to get out, and like I said, we don't have a lot of time, so when you get out and do some things like that, it's definitely, for me, a refresher, and I enjoy doing that.
Well, we know you guys especially don't have a lot of time in May. Luke, I talked to him, and he's always trying to fish, and he has the 1 month a year. And I know you don't have any time with what you're doing. So for you to sacrifice your time to come here and be with us during May, which I know you could be with your family, and that means a ton to us. And I appreciate you being with us. And how long are you in town for?
So my family and I are headed to the beach tomorrow at 7 in the morning, but so I'd like to get out of here tonight sometime and head back.
If you get a chance, well, let's take 2 questions.
Yeah, and then if you go to the end, look, I'm not real good at email. I will get to it, but if you got questions, email me. I will do my best. Now, look, you can't get mad at me if it takes 2 months, but I'll eventually get back to you, all right? And I will be happy to try to email you back. Now, I'm not good with grammar. It might be a run-on sentence, but I'll do my best to email you back. But, yeah, any questions?
Last time I checked, that's not what they pay you for.
Yeah, that's very true.
Let's take 2 questions. Anybody got something?
That means I did good or I didn't cover anything.
You got 1 question right there.
Yes, sir.
What's your absolute favorite lift to prescribe to your athletes?
If I could put it all together, it'd be a RDL hang clean front squat. So I get a little bit of everything right there. If I could do that, that'd be it. We're going to squat.
Maybe we're
I'm
going to
do
try
some
that
kind of
later
squat.
on.
Some kind of, whether it's a front or a back or a single leg, we're going to squat. The bench is not as important for me, but we're going to do some kind of squat. I think we tell our guys that legs feed the wolves, and we're going to be strong from the ground up. So that would be my number 1. Yes, sir. I think honestly, it starts from the top, and our head football coach doesn't allow it. And his finger is on everybody. And now he lets you do your job, but he's going to be on top of it. And if he thinks you're slacking, he's going to tell you. Yeah. And it's been from me to one of my assistants to a football coach to a player, and he ain't afraid to hold back and tell you what he thinks. And so I think because he demands so much, and he's always on. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. He's always on. And I think because of that, we all have to be on if you want your job. For us, I think as a coach, I've got to figure out ways to excite and energize and not let our players think that they've arrived. So for me, it's sitting down with our staff and saying, all right, what do we need to do different? How can we challenge them? What do we need to do to change up? You know, we're working out on a Friday, and all of a sudden, sometimes this has happened. I may say, all right, we're done. We're going outside, and we're lunge walking. It's just something change up to keep them thinking, to keep it exciting for them, and trying to find out new ways to motivate them. Because I think the problem is the NIL and the way that crap's going, it's hard to motivate them. All right, because everything's becoming motivated by that, and that's a challenge that I think we're fighting right now.
Right on. Well, Scott, it was awesome having you.
Awesome.
Thank you for always being a friend and supporting, and it was great having you with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.